Darling, your eggs are getting cold, her mother, Catherine Montgomery, called from the breakfast room. Catherine was everything high society demanded, poised, elegant, and razor-sharp when it came to protecting the family name. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning. Isabella's driver had called in sick, and for the first time in years. So, she walked through the old market district. That's when she saw him. He sat outside a tiny shop, hands moving with practiced grace as he shaped leather around a wooden last. When he looked up and smiled, something in Isabella's chest cracked open. "Can I help you?" he asked, wiping his hands. My shoe," she stammered, looking down at her heel that had caught in a sidewalk grate. The strap broke. "These are beautiful," he said softly, running his thumb over the leather. "But they're made to be looked at, not lived in. $500, and they can't handle a crack in the sidewalk." "How much do you charge?" Isabella asked. "For you?" $20. "But it'll take a day." She laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in months. "I'll wait. It'll take 4 hours. Then I'll come back tomorrow." "My mother thinks I'm at yoga," Isabella confessed one afternoon, sitting on the stool in his workshop as he stitched a new sole onto her riding boot. David's hands paused. "Why do you lie to her?" "Because she wouldn't understand this." Isabella gestured between them. "She wouldn't understand you." "What's to understand?" "I fix shoes. That's all I am." "No," Isabella said firmly. "You create things that last. You take what's broken and make it whole again." "That's not nothing, David. That's everything." 3 months later, they were inseparable. "I'm falling for you," she whispered one night, her head on his shoulder. David pulled back to look at her. His eyes were serious, afraid. "Isabella, I make $30,000 a year. You probably spend that on shoes. I don't care about money. But your family will. Your mother will." Isabella's throat tightened. She knew he was right. "Then we'll deal with it. Together." "A shoemaker?" Her voice could have cut glass. "Isabella Marie Montgomery, have you lost your mind?" "Mother, please. Do you know what the Ashtons said at brunch? What Elizabeth Rothschild whispered to me at the opera?" Catherine's hands trembled with rage. "My daughter, sneaking around with a tradesman like some. Like some what, mother? Like someone who works for a living? Like someone real?" "You will end this," Catherine commanded. "Tonight. Or I will cut you off. No trust fund. No credit cards. No allowance. Let's see how much you love him when you're eating ramen noodles in a studio apartment." Isabella's voice was steady despite her tears. "Then do it. I choose him. You're throwing away your entire life." "No, Mother. I'm finally starting to live one." Catherine's face went white. "Get out. If you walk out that door to be with him, you are no longer my daughter." Isabella turned toward the door, her whole body shaking. Behind her, she heard her mother's choked breathing, and for a moment, she almost turned back. But she kept walking. David opened his apartment door to find Isabella soaked from the rain. "I have $3,000 in my personal account," she said through tears. "That's it. That's all I have now. My mother disowned me, and I don't know how to do laundry or cook or—" He pulled her inside, wrapping her in his arms. "We'll figure it out. All of it. I've never had a real job, David. I don't know how to survive in the real world. Then you'll learn. And I'll teach you what I can. We'll do this together, remember." The next 6 months were the hardest of Isabella's life. She got a job as a barista, burned her hands on the espresso machine, and came home exhausted every night. Her feet ached, her back hurt, and she missed hot showers that lasted more than 5 minutes. But she was happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. She learned to cook, badly at first, then better. She discovered she liked thrift stores, that a perfectly made shoe from David meant more than any designer heel, that Sunday morning sleeping in with David was worth more than all the brunch galas in the world. No regrets? David asked one night as they ate pasta she'd actually managed not to burn. Isabella kissed him. Not a single one. David proposed on a Tuesday, exactly 1 year after they met. No fancy restaurant, no elaborate plan. "It's not much," he said nervously. "It's perfect," Isabella whispered. "You're perfect." They were planning a courthouse wedding when the letter arrived. Isabella's hands trembled as she read her mother's handwriting. "Isabella? Please come to the house. Alone. There is something I need to show you." "Mother." "It's a trap," David said immediately. "She's going to try to buy you off or threaten me or... I have to go. I need to face her eventually. Then I'm coming with you." "No." Isabella touched his face. "I need to do this myself." "But David, no matter what she says, I'm coming home to you. Nothing will change that." Catherine Montgomery answered the door herself, which was unusual. No butler, no staff in sight. She looked older, somehow. Tired. "Come with me, I need to show you something." "Something I should have shown you years ago," was all she said. Isabella followed her mother through the house, past the formal rooms, past the gallery of family portraits, down a hallway she'd rarely visited. The room took Isabella's breath away. Photographs covered every wall. A young Catherine, barely recognizable, stood beside a man with kind eyes and leather-stained hands. "Mother, who?" "Your grandfather," Catherine whispered. "My father. He was a shoemaker." Isabella's world tilted. "What?" "I was 18 when I met your father, Charles Montgomery. He was rich, powerful, from the right family. My parents, my father especially, were so proud. But I loved someone else." Catherine picked up a photograph. "His name was Marco. He was a carpenter. We were going to run away together. What happened? My father begged me not to throw my life away. He said he'd worked with his hands his whole life so I wouldn't have to. He wanted me to have security, comfort, and respectability." Catherine's voice broke. "So I married Charles. And I was miserable every single day of that marriage. I became exactly what high society wanted," Catherine continued. "I erased my father's memory from family histories. I pretended he was a banker, not a craftsman. I was so ashamed of where I came from that I destroyed every connection to authenticity in my life. Mother, when I saw you with David, I panicked. I saw myself at 18, and I tried to save you from my father's mistake. But Isabella, my father wasn't wrong to want more for me. I was wrong to think that more meant money instead of love." Catherine gripped Isabella's hands. "I spent 40 years in a loveless marriage to a man who cheated on me constantly, who cared more about stocks than our family. I've been alone since he died, surrounded by wealth, drowning in regret." "I am so sorry," Catherine sobbed. "I disowned you because I was terrified you'd make the same mistake I did. But you didn't make a mistake, darling. You did what I couldn't. You chose love. You chose real." Isabella held her mother as she cried, both of them releasing years of pain and misunderstanding. "Is it too late?" Catherine whispered. "Can you forgive me?" "Oh, Mom. Of course." They stayed in that room for hours, Catherine sharing stories of her father, his workshop, the smell of leather and love she'd tried so hard to forget. "There's someone I'd like you to meet properly," Isabella said as David's car pulled up to the mansion. She'd called him hours ago, her voice thick with tears and joy. David approached slowly, clearly expecting another confrontation. Catherine Montgomery stepped forward, and he braced himself. She extended her hand. "Mr. Santos, I owe you an apology and my gratitude. You gave my daughter something I never could, the courage to choose her own path. David blinked in confusion. Mrs. Montgomery, Please, call me Catherine. She smiled, and Isabella saw echoes of the young woman in the photographs. Would you both join me for dinner? I'd very much like to hear about your work. My father was a shoemaker, you know. Over dinner, Catherine asked David about his techniques, his grandfather's teachings, his dreams for his business. I have a proposal, Catherine said as dessert was served. I have resources sitting idle. Investments in properties I don't need. What if I helped you open a real workshop? Not charity, she added quickly, seeing David's expression. A business investment. You'd maintain full creative control, pay me back with interest. But you'd have the space and tools to create on a larger scale. Mother, you don't have to. I want to, Catherine interrupted. I spent decades running from my father's legacy. Perhaps it's time I honored it instead. David looked at Isabella, then back at Catherine. Under one condition. We name it O'Brien and Santos. Your father should be remembered. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. He would have liked you. 6 months later, O'Brien and Santos opened in a historic building downtown. Your mother's terrifying, David whispered as Catherine charmed a room full of potential clients. She's a Montgomery, Isabella laughed. We're all terrifying. You're just lucky you got the nice one. The nice one who burned pasta for 3 months. I make excellent pasta now, thank you very much. They were married in Catherine's garden. I thought I'd lost you, Catherine told Isabella afterward, holding her tight. Instead, you showed me how to find myself. We both found our way home, Isabella replied. Your grandfather would be laughing at me, she tells Isabella, struggling with a particularly stubborn piece of leather. No, Isabella says, kissing her mother's cheek. He'd be proud you finally came home.